Well, hello to everybody. And I see people popping on. You're totally welcome to come in whenever you arrive. So today I was thinking about, well, first I wanted to read you a quote that I found the other day, which I really loved. It's from the artist David Hockney, and it says, I believe the very process of looking can make a thing beautiful. So go ahead and take a breath and let me say that again. I believe that the very process of looking can make a thing beautiful. So often we have the sense that I can't have attention, I don't deserve attention, I have to do something to to earn attention, and that the very act of giving the gift of our attention makes things beautiful. And I was just remembering, I was at our farmers market yesterday, and there was a fellow who was sitting on the bench right outside of the farmers market. We have a wonderful farmers market here in Ojai, as Michelle can attest. We He was playing his guitar and he had his little dog there with him. And as I was going by, I just felt moved. I gave him my attention. It wasn't my eye attention. So I first heard him. And so I'd like you to tune into right now, what can you hear around you that you're giving attention to it can make it beautiful? So that's an aspect of our what we call loop of awareness, is that I'm giving attention. And as I gave attention, I just thought, I want to go over and express to him my appreciation. And so I went over and I said, what just came out of my mouth is, I can hear your heart in your music. And he and I got all teary and he got all teary. And it was this lovely moment of, because he got that I received the gift of his music. So the gift of his genius, what he really loves to do, gave me that ability to add more love and beauty in my day. And so I think of our loop of awareness as a practice of seeing beauty, a practice of inviting harmony, of inviting just the gift of giving your attention. So I want to invite you to give your attention. I'd like you to do a little scan of your own body. And I'd like you to notice any place that's calling for your attention. And what also came to me today is, we think of attention as being kind of like a pencil point, like you just pay attention right now. And notice the way that you have given yourself that kind of pencil attention, like sit up, shape up, shut up, all of those things that we do with pointy. And when I notice the effect of pointy on myself, I want to kind of shake it off. So notice if you have any pointy tendency. And I was, as I was getting ready this morning, I noticed this mister. I wonder if it's going to show up here. You can't quite see it if I move it really close. Oh, there it goes. You can kind of see the spray. So I want you to turn your pointer into a mister. And so I wonder if you could take a moment and give your hands the opportunity to go from pointy to misty. And then if you feel a tendency like blamey, you can notice that and then turn it to misty. And then I'd like you to let yourself give a mist of beauty and love to you, anywhere in you that you can feel you would like that. And then I'd like you to let that mist of your awareness move out into just the space that's right around you. And notice if there's anything that draws your attention or anything that you would like to just see and create As you're seeing, you create beauty. So the tendency too, there's a lot going on right now in the outside world that you could give your pointy attention to, like the climate report that just came out today. So I'd like you to now just take a moment and notice the way that you judge what's going on out there. So do your pointy or people, so go ahead and let yourself rant a little bit. You're all muted. So go ahead and point and rant like, I cannot believe it. Yeah, so go ahead and do that. And then just notice where that comes from and how, and then I wonder if you'd be willing to let that turn into a mist of beauty, a mist of love, a mist of moisture. That's definitely something we could use around here and in many, many places. And see if you would be willing to be a source of beauty, a source of opening, a source of changing pointy to expansive. And let that expand out into some love scoops so you can combine your misting with gathering that and then giving it to you. And gathering that and sending it out. People are now turning their attention to the brain extending beyond our physical brains, which is something that many of us have known about for a long time, but other people are now catching up with, that the way that we think is not just with the matter that's in our head. We have an extended mind. And my sense is that as we practice loop of awareness, giving attention out, giving attention in, that we're extending our ability to give and receive attention, even in places where we're not located. So I'd like you to now I'm going to mist again because it's so much fun. And let yourself, this is also called clear energy. So I love that as well. If you would be willing to have your mist be a source of clear energy. And I'm also going to just mist around me. Yes. So you can be taking that in, but you can let that mist, it's water. We're 80 to 90% water, depending on how hydrated we are. So, and our planet is mostly water. And water can come in the form of mist, but I'd also like you to imagine you're gathering, you've got love scoops, gather in some love scoops for you. And let that build. So gathering in some love scoops for you. And I'd like you to let that build until it becomes a wave that you can then send out. And I'd like you to send it anywhere in the world that you're drawn to send it. And then letting that seeing and sharing of beauty and connection come back to you. So letting yourself also be willing to receive a wave of love. See what you need to do in yourself to make room to receive a wave of love. And notice if there are any places in you that are resisting receiving that wave of love. I notice a little tightening in my jaw. So I can feel that my anger and my feeling of judgment is right there with the wave of love. They're competing. You know, like, am I going to go for judgment? And I can feel judgmental and I'm going to give some spritzers to my judgment. So you can love yourself for feeling judgmental. Because I want to tell you, you will never judge yourself out of judging yourself. You will never stop judging yourself by blaming yourself for judging. So I'd like you to notice where in you judgment is most located. Where do you most notice it? It might be between your shoulder blades. It might be like it is for me in your jaw or in your neck. You know, that kind of. And I'd like you to go ahead and exaggerate the sensations you feel in that place. Just go ahead and what can you do to exaggerate them, to make them bigger? So I definitely notice when I point, I can feel that in between my shoulder blades because I know that's where it's coming from. It's like I'm drawing my pointy guns. So when you exaggerate, I want you to just notice where in you that seems to be located, because that's the part of you that wants to be loved. So I'd like you to either spritzing or gathering love scoops. I'd like you to give that as best you can. So for me, it gathering and touching and breathing really lets it land. So let yourself notice how you can most really receive, loving yourself for your judgment. And then I'd like you to gather up misting, love scooping, and I'd like you to gather that, and I'd like you to send that out to someone you know is having judgment, or to an area where there's a lot of judgment going on. Just seeing if you can love out there, love the judgment that you see and feel, and notice if under that you can appreciate the beauty. So under the judgment, because judgment's run by fear, and as we do our love scoops and we let ourselves move more and breathe and find that pace, underneath judgment and fear is something wanting to become. And over the next weeks, months, years, I think this is going to be our most important task, is loving what is and moving into how can I use that love to open up to more and more of letting love connect me with others. So let's do, as we're beginning to move toward closure here, I'm feeling that I want to add in some wiggles to my love scoops. So notice what you're wanting to add to your love scoops. I'm wanting to do wiggle scoops and sort of a little bit more chaotic, you know, so I'm riding all the stuff that's going on. So notice whatever you want to add to, whether it's sound or wiggling or sumo scoops. And then I want to offer that to all of you and thank you for being here, because I experience our collective intention as very powerful. And I appreciate you joining with me in creating more love on the planet. So mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave, and you're welcome to stay and chat and be with each other. And I'll see you next time.